Hey everybody, Cobra DVS here, and it's finally time for the 300 subscriber contest. I think it's been a little over a week, so anybody who has wanted to enter, I'm sure has. So basically, here were the rules. You just had to submit a question via a comment, and you were entered. There was only one way to enter. You couldn't enter some way to get 3 entries into the drawing or anything like that. It was all, everybody got one. So that's how it is. So I'm going to go ahead and answer everybody's question, and then at the end I will do the drawing. Now the drawing is going to be on video, whereas the questions will just be my voice, because there's really nothing, that you need to see for me answering questions. So let's go ahead and get to it, because there are quite a few of them. The first question is by iCrytex. He says, "Big congrats on 300 subs. Here's to another 300. I noticed he said shipping to England." Okay, let's just skip to his question. My question is, if you could have a movie made into a game, which would it be and what system would it be on? Movie made into a game. That's a really hard question. Well, my favorite movie is probably Army of Darkness. And there's Evil Dead games, but there actually isn't an Army of Darkness game, like, straight out, like, for newer consoles or anything. So I'd say that an Army of Darkness game would be kind of awesome. Next question by Goffman. "Excellent stuff, Cobra. I'm not sure if I said his name right, by the way. Excellent stuff, Cobra. Big congrats on subs, my friend. My question would have to be, what is your favorite Gordon Lightfoot song?" My favorite Gordon Lightfoot song is probably Sundown, although the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald is really good. And he also says, "Can you show me your boxed and complete RPGs for the Super NES again?" Well, the rarer ones anyway. Yeah, I'll go ahead and film a short little video for you and then put it right here. So moving on. Mike Gardner asks, "Do you play NHL 94? And if so, who is your squad? What's your favorite Phantasy Star game and why?" He also says, "Congrats on 300. Podcast sounds cool. Keep it retro. You should bring fellow YouTubers on the show." Okay. Do I play NHL 94? I don't. I have. Alright, real quick here for Jeff. Here are my Super NES games all in this row. We'll start back there. 7th Saga, ActRaiser, RPG, AVP, Brainlord, Breath of Fire 2, the awesome Chrono Trigger, Demon's Crest here, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, Eye of the Beholder. I'm not sure if that's an RPG or not. We've got Final Fantasy 2, 3, and Mystic Quest, Illusion of Gaia, let's see, Zelda, Link to the Past, awesome. Both Lufias, really happy that I have those. Paladin's Quest, Robo-Trek, Secret of Evermore, Shadowrun, and Soul Blazer, awesome to have these. Is that the last one? Young Merlin, I guess. And then real quick in here, I have a couple. Breath of Fire 1 right here. And Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past there. I have a double of that. And that's the only one in here. Then I have Earthbound, of course. There's the Earthbound. And then the last one would be down here. Way down here. In the back. Right there. Super Mario. So moving on. Mike Gardner asks, "Do you play NHL 94? And if so, who is your squad? What's your favorite Phantasy Star game and why?" He also says, "Congrats on 300. Podcast sounds cool. Keep it retro. You should bring fellow YouTubers on the show." Okay. Do I play NHL 94? I don't. I have it, but I do not play it. I'm just not a huge hockey fan, and if I were to play a hockey game, it'd probably be Mutant League Hockey for the Genesis. I'm just not huge into hockey, although I'd rather play hockey over football any day. So unfortunately, no, I don't. And thank you also. And the podcast is done. We kept it retro for a little bit, but it's hard to do news stories on retro stuff. But in episode 2 coming Monday, while late Monday, early Tuesday, we will have a little more retro in it. Alright, so the Riddler Beyond says, I'm a fellow game collector. I prefer buying games in person at flea markets and thrift stores and such. I enjoy the search for games compared to ordering them. And I was just wondering, what do you prefer? If it were possible, excuse me, if it were possible to find everything in person, I would much rather do that. Just the excitement is much higher. Unfortunately, there's some things that finding in person is so unlikely. It's, you'd be better off just buying it online. Some of the things I have that would be almost impossible to find in person. Earthbound is obviously extremely high. My NES collection, to find that all in person would be sickening. Super NES as well. I would prefer everything to be in person, but I think there are points where going online is probably the best option. RCJDM97 says, what's the lowest you scored golfing? What type of course was it? Where did you shoot? Etc. My lowest score golfing, on 9 holes, my lowest score is a 31. I was subbing in a golf league on my grandpa's golf league, and I just tore it up. It was a pretty easy course, but still, to shoot a 31, I was pretty happy with that. I also shot a 32 at a course that was much more difficult, and these are, of course, on 9 holes, but it was 32, and I had 4 birdies in a row. So, and that was my first time playing the course. And then I ended up shooting my lowest 18 holes when I shot that 32, and I shot a 69. 69's not that great. It's a great score, but I can do better, I think. I just haven't done it. It's hard. It's a tough game. Alright, next page. Neo Flynn says, huge congrats on 300. I sent you a message about the podcast, which I got, and we are now in the podcast together. So, awesome. Anyway, my question for you is, my question for you is, what do you do when you're not working / playing video games or golfing? When I'm not working, playing video games, or golfing, is there anything else to do? I'm just kidding. I really, really enjoy doing stuff with friends. School, of course, is one thing, but going like out to dinner with a bunch of friends, I really enjoy that. Going over to a bunch of friends' house and, just bullshitting for a few hours, it's just really fun. I'm a pretty laid-back guy, so I just like to do things that are pretty relaxing. Coach Mills' blog says, well done, keep up the good work, and his question is, does your family know how much stuff is jammed into that closet? What is your biggest collection? They do know how much is jammed into this closet, unfortunately. Luckily for me, it's pretty well organized. For being as big of a mess as it is, it's pretty well organized. What is my biggest collection? I don't know. I think my Box Genesis collection is pretty impressive. I don't think it's as impressive as my Super Nintendo collection, but as far as what's biggest, I'm not really sure. I'd say my best is probably my Super Nintendo collection for right now. Gamer Toys says, congrats on 300, bro. Podcast sounds cool. If you ever need or want anyone to contribute or be a part of it with you, I'd be down to help. Always wanted to do one myself. Okay, well, Gamer Toys, if you're actually interested in being a guest on the show, we're not sure when guests are going to start happening, but I'm sure at one point we'll start allowing them. It's just, I think once we get on our feet, it'll probably be when we start allowing guests. But if you are interested, just go ahead and send me a personal message, and we can talk about it then. So his question is, my question for you is, what is one game that you never get tired of playing, even if you've beaten it numerous times? Well, I'm going to answer this with 2 games, and I've only beaten one of them. The first one is Contra on the NES. I beat that with the 30 lives code. I never get tired of playing it. I could play it all day. And Castlevania on the NES. I've actually never beaten that game, but I could play it all day. And actually, before I forgot, on Mike Gardner's question, he asked me what my favorite Phantasy Star game was. I forgot to answer that part of the question. I only have one Phantasy Star game, and it's the Master System one. And I've actually never played it. As blasphemous as that sounds. Actually, I have never popped it in. I would like to get the other ones for the Genesis, but as of right now, I only have that one. Okay, so that was GamerToys RetroFan1992 says, congratulations on 300 subs. I've been playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan on Game Boy. I was wondering if you've played it and if you're a fan of Ninja Turtles. I have not played it, but I have heard of it, and it looks like a decent game. And am I a fan of Ninja Turtles? Oh, definitely. I mean, if you're not a fan of Ninja Turtles, it's you have problems, I think. I mean, Ninja Turtles they're just cool, and when you grew up, in the 90s, Ninja Turtles were pretty big. So yeah, I am a big fan of Ninja Turtles and the Ninja Turtles video games. My favorite being Ninja Turtles 4 on the Super NES. So that was a good question. Rob, who is, says, love the channel, definitely liking the having guests idea on the podcast. I would assume he's talking about. Would be cool to see you talk to some of the other trades / buyers on what games you're looking for, what was your best find, etc. Maybe a round table type of thing. Yeah, it's a pretty good idea, actually. Question is, I saw you talk about Castlevania last week, but what are your favorite games of this current generation? Well, I'm a big Halo fan. Halo Reach, of course, was a fun game. Halo 3, love them both. But some other games, Super Mario Galaxy, Mario Kart Wii. It's hard to think of them on the spot. Wii Sports, even though it was basically a tech demo, really enjoyed that one. Man, what else do I play? 007 Nightfire was last gen, but whatever. I don't really know. Gears of War. Alien vs. Predator was a good one, too. I don't know what my favorite is, or if I even have one, but those are some of my more liked ones. Next question. Sir Nintendo 64 says, the podcast sounds like a great idea. How did you come up with such a concept? And way to give the Dutch, I don't... D-E-U-T-C-H. I assume he means Germany, and I've heard that word before. I don't know how to say it. Is it Deutsch, Dutch, whatever? But Germany, I would assume, is what he means. A one-finger salute, because I used Germany as an example of a country I probably couldn't ship to. And he said, 300 subs already? Hot damn, you earned them. Well, thank you. And I guess your question is, how did I come up with an idea like this? Well, I've seen it before. I've listened to several podcasts, and they haven't done exactly what I'm doing, but they definitely do, either one of the things or a few of the things or whatever. But anyway, just a combination of things I like from separate podcasts that I just thought would be a good idea, and I think it's turning out great so far. Wes Kuya says, what console do you have the most games for, and what's your favorite game for that console, and keep up the great vids? Well, I will try. What console do I have the most games for? Probably the Super NES. And what's my favorite game for that console? Oh, wow. That is a tough question. I don't have one. I mean, some of my favorites, I'll tell you, Castlevania 4, Ninja Turtles 4, Mario World 2, Super Bomberman 2 is a great one. As far as RPGs go, I really haven't played many. I know I have a bunch, but I haven't really played it. Oh, Link to the Past. That's one of my favorites. That might be my favorite. Super Metroid and Super Mario RPG as well. Contra 3 is another one. But there are so many games I haven't played. It'd be unfair for me to answer this question right now because I haven't played Final Fantasy 2 or 3 yet. So I might like those and not even know it. So Twirrup, I believe that's how you spell your name. Everybody seems to have trouble with this name. It's Twirrup, I believe. That's how I'll say it. Congrats on 300. You'll be at 6,000 in no time. Well, I don't know about no time, but we'll see. Your channel is fucking awesome. Your podcast sounds cool. Well, thank you. He says, what are some of your goals when it comes to video game collection / collecting? What are some of my goals? Well, a big goal of mine is to get all my systems boxed. To find boxes is a big goal of mine. Like for my CDX, would love to find a box for that. Get as much cool little knick-knack things as you can. Boxes are where it's at for me, though. I just love boxes. Posters are cool. The rare stuff, the obscure stuff, the collectible stuff. But box systems is a big one for me. And one goal I have is to get every boxed Model 1 Genesis that they made. And I'm only missing one. And I've seen it on eBay a few times. Unfortunately, at the time, I didn't have the money to get them. Next one, the Star Lava. Question, what do you consider the best day of your life? Ooh, the best day of my life. Does the day I was born count? Because that was a pretty good day. This is really a hard question. I guess I'm remembering a lot of days. I mean, the day I got that package in the mail with all those NES and Super NES games, that mega epic unboxing that I did, that was a pretty damn good day. As far as the best day of my life, I really couldn't tell you. Maybe when I get married or when I have a kid, maybe that'll be it. But as of right now, I really couldn't tell you. Good question, though. This is a tough one. Electric Adventures says, this is a great guy, really liking his channel. I think a podcast sounds like a great idea, especially if it's something that you're passionate about and it would interest you, as that way it would be more entertaining for the listeners. I agree. I agree that podcasts are really good for something to listen to when you are doing something else like working or gaming. Also true. My question is, do you think the modern games favor style over substance? Meaning modern games don't have the same level of gameplay as retro games in a lot of instances. I think one problem with modern games today is that they feel like they have to do. I almost feel like they have to do less work, because it's going to be really hard to explain this. Shoot. This is not a difficult question. It's difficult to word it correctly. I think the thing with retro games is that there's a simplicity to them that you just cannot match with current games. That doesn't, make them, worse or better, but there's just, you cannot match the simplicity of the classic games. And of course there's games today that are phenomenal, and there are games that came out today that are better than retro games, but it is very difficult to say. So that's a tough question. It's a good question, but tough. I do like them both. I'm a little biased maybe towards retro, because most people just push it aside and say, oh, that game came out in '85, it probably sucks. Well, no, I can guarantee you I can pick a handful of games that came out in '85 that are way better than any game that'll come out this year. Well, that's not what I mean. I'm meaning that there are games that have come out this year that are worse than games that came out in 1985. Good question. Mordaka 101 says, super congrats, Padre. Question, what question would you like me to ask? How's that for a question? That is quite the question. He says, okay, no, this is his real question. Okay, seeing as how you game and you golf, are you big into golf games? I'm not really anymore. I used to be huge into the Tiger Woods series, but I'm really not anymore because they kind of get repetitive, and I don't know. I got like 2004 to 2011, but then I kind of just faded out. I thought it'd be really cool if they made like a Mutant League golf, like Mutant League hockey and football on the Genesis. I always thought that'd be cool. Although there are some good Super Nintendo golf games that I don't have. Like I've heard some good ones, and I'll have to look them up. But I see people talking about them all the time. The Secret Game Room says, congrats on 300. My question is, what is your favorite designed console? Ooh, there are a lot of cool designs out there. One design that I really like is the Wii. I just like how it's sleek. It's white. It's very futuristic almost looking, but it's simple. So I think I might say the Wii. Although the Genesis, of course, I like them all. The Atari 2600, of course, with its wood grain. Here is my question from 49er Nation 1. Which do you like better, spaghetti or lasagna? And why? This is actually a really easy question. It's lasagna. No doubt, lasagna. Lasagna is actually my top, 3 favorite foods of all time. I just absolutely love it. Can't get enough. It's phenomenal. Alright, next question. Interesting question right there, by the way. The Video Game Junkie 99 says, congrats on 300, it is much deserved. I think the podcast sounds really cool. Maybe you should put it as an MP3 somewhere so we can download it onto our MP3 players. You know, I actually don't know how to do that, but I do know you can take YouTube videos and convert the audio into an MP3 format with some websites. So if you want to do it yourself, you can actually put it on your iPod. He says, anyways, I don't know if this question is too personal, but I was just wondering, why do you have to wear glasses? I was kind of curious, as I have to wear them because of a lazy eye. Not sure if you're the same, if shipping will be an issue. Don't mind if you redraw it if I win. Oh, because he lives in the UK. Okay. But anyways, as far as the glasses go, no, I just wear glasses because I have a slight stigmatism. It's very slight. I actually don't even have to wear glasses. And I'm a little, is it nearsighted, farsighted? I'm one of the two, but glasses just help. Plus, I like to wear glasses. Like, they're pretty nice. So, good question there. From Chris. Okay, 2D UK says, hey Cobra, loving your videos still, mate. Loving your vids still, mate. My question is, of course, gaming related. What advice would you give to the president of Sega, if you could have, when they were coming up with the ideas of the Mega CD, the 32X, then Saturn, in light of them basically killing themselves as a hardware manufacturer, Dreamcast being their last throw of the die? Keep up the good work. Okay, this is an incredible question. What would I tell the makers of the Sega, during the Sega CD era? First off, don't make FMV the main focus of most games, because odds are they're going to suck. I think one thing that you need to do when you make a console, like an add-on, is give people a reason to buy it. Obviously, if NBA Jam comes out on the Genesis and NBA Jam comes out on the Sega CD, is there really a reason to get it on the Sega CD? I mean, of course it has increased audio, but they're basically the same game, so you gotta definitely make it worth their while. Which the 32X did better, I think, but the Sega CD, obviously games like Terminator and Sonic CD with the audio was just incredible. And another thing would be to release. I mean, it's tough to do, but make it one console like the CDX. I mean, that'd be so much easier. You'd sell more, I can pretty much guarantee, because people would have to buy one console as opposed to two. And with the 32X, same thing. Just make it one console. The Neptune they had planned, but just make it one console. It's so much easier. And with 32X, don't mainly only focus on graphics, but definitely do, because the 32X, obviously, it's 32-bit. That was the main focus. And then the Saturn. The only thing I would say with the Saturn, because I really don't know much about it, is don't release it. I think it was 6 months early that they released it. Don't do that. It turned out bad for you, so stop it. Great question. Or is that a 1? That is 1V Pepe 38. It's Hacker 727, I believe. He says, congrats on 300. The podcast sounds great. My question is, what got you into game collecting? What got me into game collecting? Well, it was about a year and a half ago. Probably more around a year, and I sort of just decided, I miss those games that when I was a kid. It was basically the nostalgia factor. So, I started spending a little bit of money from graduation on some Super Nintendo games, and bam, I was hooked. There's really nothing stopping me then. Cyrus649, what is your favorite and least favorite game system? My favorite game system is probably the Super NES, and my least favorite game system... he said handheld counts. I don't even have one, but I'd probably say like the PSP or something. I've never played a PSP, so I can't say that, but I never have been a fan of Sony. What would be maybe the... No, it's not the PS1. What is it? To be honest with you, there's really not a game system that I've played that I didn't care for. Aside from the PS3, I do prefer the Xbox. I won't say the PS3 is bad by any stretch, but I do prefer the 360. That's like impossible for me to answer because there's not really a system I don't like. Sorry to disappoint, but I don't know of any. The Atari 7800 Junkie says, what's the most obscure system and or game in your collection? Obscure system and or game. Well, I don't have any super rare systems aside from like the, CDX or something like that. I do have a pretty cool little Pong system. Those aren't entirely common. Games that I have that are rare, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, both Lufia games, just for the Super NES. I could go on all day, really, but those are some of the notable ones. Old School NYC Gamer says, I have a couple of questions in mind, although I know this will be just one entry. Is there a specific retro system you want to get every game for, including the accessories for it, rare or not? And what is the least favorite retro system you own, and why? Is there a system I want to get everything for? I'd love to get everything for the NES. Has a lot of really cool accessories, like the laser scope thing and all those, just the power glove, things like that. So the NES would be that one. What is the least favorite retro system you own, and why? Well, I own a Commodore 64, and I have 0 games for it, so I could just sort of pick that as a scapegoat. But I think the one I have games for, the one I'll pick, it'll probably have to be the Odyssey 2. I don't dislike the system. In fact, I kind of like it a lot, but of the ones I have, it's probably the least favorite I have. Sega Dude says, good idea bringing the podcast back, man. Should do it. Well, I'm not bringing it back. I'm actually just starting it up. But yeah, what's all-time favorite Sega Genesis game? Wow, that's gonna be a hard question. Or maybe not. I really, 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 really like the original Sonic the Hedgehog. It's definitely my favorite Sonic game ever. So I'd say that's probably my favorite game. Real Equalizer says, Cobra, have you ever played Shenmue or even Shenmue 2? If you have, I'm interested to see what you thought of that unfinished game series. Thanks, and keep up the good vids. I wonder what he means by unfinished. Was there supposed to be a third one or something? I have Shenmue on the Dreamcast, never played it. I heard mixed things about it, and never got around to popping it in. So I'll probably give it a try one day, though. Beyond Forever says, my question is, do you prefer playing retro games or modern games, and why? It's a pretty good mix of both. But it's got to be retro. Even though my channel is based around retro, don't get me wrong, I play a lot of current stuff too. It's just I don't talk about it usually on my channel, aside from the podcast or whatever. Alright, so next question is gonna be from West Kuya. Oh, never mind. We already did his question, I believe. CZS716 says, I say bring on the podcast. My question is, do you ever look at your question and think, man, I spend way too much money on this stuff? I do it just about every day. But then I look at what I have and, how much money I've spent compared to the value of the stuff. Then it sort of goes into perspective that it's worth a lot more than what I've paid. So it's definitely worth it in the end. So I don't regret really anything, but I do look at it and say, wow, I want, if I had saved this money, what I could have bought, a brand new car or something, probably not a car, but, Zoogle88 says, question, do you shred the nar, in parentheses, skateboard? Do I skateboard? I don't skateboard. I used to have a skateboard, and I bruised my ass too many times, so I quit. Hop is Fine says, congrats on 300 subs, dude. Your podcast sounds cool. I'll definitely check it out if you decide to make it. And we did, so hopefully you checked it out. My question is, what video game item do you want to own the most? For example, game, accessory. I'd really like to own stadium events. Bubble Bobble Part 2, I'd like to own that. I'd like to own a boxed top loader NES. I have the top loader, I just need the box. What's something I'd like to own? Musha and the Genesis. A power glove, a box power glove would be awesome. That's something I want. I want some box 3D glasses for the Master System. There's so many things. It's hard to pick one. VG Reviews 95 says, congrats on 300 subs. My question is, what are your top 5 favorite platformers of all time? In no particular order, I'll go ahead and list 3. Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Super Mario 64, the Super Mario series on the NES, because picking one just seems like unjustly. Is that 3? Yeah, that was 3. Did I say Sonic 1 on the Genesis? well, that's 4, I think. And is Battletoads a platformer? It's kind of a beat 'em up, I guess, more than a platformer. Rocket Knight Adventures. That's one of my favorites. I think that's 5. If not, oh well. But I think it is. Team Old School 21 says, "Hello, Cobra. My question is, what do you think will be the first of the 3 console giants to make the next console? Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft? The Wii U has been announced, but that doesn't mean it will be out. The podcast sounds like a good idea, but I would love to see Sega versus Nintendo again. And someday you will see it again. I'm sure I will bring it back at some point. As far as which one's coming out first, it's going to be the Wii U. There's really no question in my mind. If Sony or Microsoft wanted to release a console before the Wii U, which has a release date of like June 2012 now, I don't know if that's official, but that's what they're saying, then they would have to have announced it by now, I'm sure, because you have to get the hype up, because they definitely, you have to. I mean, it's going to be the Wii U. There's really no question. The Xbox, 3 or whatever they want to call it, and the PS4. There's been rumors, but nothing confirmed. So I mean, it's definitely going to be the Wii U. A matter of when the other ones will come out, I'm not sure. It probably will be a while though. Skoog Gaming says, "Congratulations. What is your favorite 64 game?" Super Mario 64 is my favorite Nintendo 64 game. Intellivision Dude says, "Congrats on 300. You deserve 300 more." Contest question: Why do you insist mainly on getting only complete and boxed games over loose games? Why is it so important? Your collection could be 2 to 3 times bigger if you did. Just like mine, I have so many games you wish you had, but since you're so picky, it may never come to pass. Sincerely, your smartass pal, Intellivision Dude. Why do I like boxes? They're more impressive. I mean, to speak to you about, you directly, you have Body Slam Pro Wrestling. It's a very expensive, rare game. Isn't it more impressive that you have it boxed as opposed to loose? Boxes, they add a great decoration, great display. They're much more rare. So boxes are where it's at for me. They're just something that's really cool. Plus the box art on a lot of things is just awesome. So that's that question from my smart-ass pal, Intellivision Dude. Who's this one by? Uh-oh, do we have a mistake here? Shit, I think we do. I messed up the papers. So, I don't know whose question this is. Let me see if I can flip through it. Damn it. I don't know whose question this is, and I'm really sorry about that. Hold on. I'm not sorry about that, because I'm going to go look right now. I'm going to look for this, question. It's right after Intellivision Dudes. Okay, I'm going to go to my video and view all comments. Sorry, this is going to take a few seconds. I just got to find out who it is. I know it's towards the bottom. It's right after Intellivision Dude's question. Oh, Nintendo Love 27. Okay, alright. Excited about your new series. Sounds interesting. As for my question, it's simple. What do you do for a living? And congrats on 300 subs. What do I do for a living? Well, this is actually an odd question because I don't do anything for a living. I'm only 18. So it's, I still live at home, of course. So it's not really for a living. It's just more for, supporting myself, like with food, gas, or if I go out to eat, or my video game habit, of course that too. But I work at a golf course. I do pretty much a little bit of everything there. It keeps me busy, and I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite thing. I'd much rather work at like a video game store or something. Okay, next question is by Sick Cooper. He says, "Cooper, my question is, why are your videos so dark? Is your gaming stuff like in a closet or something?" Yes, it is in a closet. It's in my closet. My room does not set up well at all for my things now. But when we move, hopefully it will. I know I've said that before, but there's shelves in here where I can put the stuff, and I film my videos in here. And there's only one light, And you know, it vastly depends on what color shirt I'm wearing. If I wear a white shirt, the video is much brighter than if I wear a black shirt. And I can sort of fix a little bit of the brightness in the editing, but it's, you know, it doesn't quite turn out right. So yes, they are in a closet. The Frugal Gamer says, okay, here's my question. What is the most you've ever spent on a single game, and what was it? If I win, can you ship to Zimbabwe? I'm living with a tribe of indigenous people in the middle of the jungle. It's a bit humid, and the loincloths are comfortable. Anywho, just a heads up, you might have to ship my package by... You might have to ship my prize by pack mule. Just kidding, I live in Uganda. That's an incredible thing. But it turns out he does not. He lives in the United States. So yes, I can ship it to you. But anyway, his question is, what's the most you've ever spent on a single game? Well, the most I've ever spent on a single game would be a new game. It'd be Halo Reach. I bought the limited edition, which I think... Alright, everybody, let's do this. Let's do the contest. Let's do the drawing. Yeah, we got the names in the hat. In the Cobra hat, no less. Let's try and fold it so no one come out. In the Cobra hat. But yeah, mix them up. Mix it up. Mix it up. Alright, so Neil Flynn won last year. Or, not last year, last contest. So he's automatically out. I'm just kidding. He's still in it. No discrimination here. But anyway, he's still in it, and, oh, one did not fall out. So let's go ahead and get this show on the road. Well, that time one did fall out. I'll put it back in. Anyway, go ahead and do this, and then go ahead and pick one. And the winner is awesome. I'm happy it went to this guy. He deserves it. 49er Nation won. Congratulations, buddy. My boy. 49er Nation won. You know who it is. You know what time it is. 49er Nation won. Awesome. Happy you won. I think he lives in, is it Las Vegas? Yeah, I think it's Las Vegas. That's an awesome city. So, again, 49er Nation won. I imagine you're going to see this video, and my rule with the contest is you have to contact me with your information. I don't contact you, just so I know that you watch my videos, you know, and everything like that. So 49er Nation won, my boy. Congratulations, and I really think you're gonna like the prize. And I'll go ahead and send it. You know, I'll let you know when I send it out. It'll be this week, but it's just all gonna be a money thing for me because shipping it's not. You know, I just gotta make sure I have the money. It's not gonna be a lot to ship it, I know, but I just want to make sure, you know, all my funds are set up and I don't find you know, whatever. I'll let you know when I ship it, but it will be this week. And again, congratulations, my boy, 49er Nation won. So everybody, thanks for subscribing to me. I really appreciate it. Trying to get the channel, you know, as big as I can with the podcast with Neil Flynn. I'm hoping that sort of, you know, adds a little fuel to the fire. So hope everybody enjoys my channel. I try to make it enjoyable. So, congratulations, 49er Nation won, and I hope you like the prize. Oh, and another rule, please, please, please do a video when you get it, an unboxing video of you unpackaging the video, unpackaging the prize. So please, please do a video. That was another thing I wanted to have happen. Just so people can see what you got. So, that's it for me, guys. Thanks everybody once again for supporting, subscribing, commenting, everything like that, liking. So that's it for me, guys. Take it easy. Hey everybody, Cobra DVS here, and it's finally time for the 300 subscriber contest. I think it's been a little over a week, so anybody who has wanted to enter, I'm sure has. So basically, here were the rules. You just had to submit a question via a comment, and you were entered. There was only one way to enter. You couldn't enter some way to get 3 entries into the drawing or anything like that. It was all, everybody got one. So that's how it is. So I'm going to go ahead and answer everybody's question, and then at the end I will do the drawing. Now the drawing is going to be on video, whereas the questions will just be my voice, because there's really nothing, you know, that you need to C for me answering questions. So let's go ahead and get to it because there are quite a few of them. The first question is by iCrytex. He says, "Big congrats on 300 subs. Here's to another 300." I noticed he said shipping to England. Like, okay, let's just skip to his question. My question is, if you could have a movie made into a game, just not huge into hockey, although I'd rather play hockey over football any day. So unfortunately, no, I don't. And thank you also. And the podcast is done. We kept it retro for a little bit, but it's hard to do news stories on retro stuff. But in episode 2 coming Monday, Tuesday, Monday, late Monday, early Tuesday, we will have a little more retro in it. Alright, so the Riddler Beyond says, "I'm a fellow game collector. I prefer buying games in person at flea markets and thrift stores and such. I enjoy the search for games compared to ordering them. And I was just wondering, what do you prefer?" If it were possible, excuse me, if it were possible to find everything in person, I would much rather do that. Just the excitement is much higher. Unfortunately, there's some things that finding in person is so unlikely. It's you'd be better off just buying it online. Some of the things I have that would be almost impossible to find in person. Earthbound is obviously extremely high. My Merlin, I guess. And then real quick in here, I have a couple. Breath of Fire 1 right here, and Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past there. I have a double of that. And that's the only one in here. Then I have Earthbound, of course. There's the Earthbound. And then the last one would be down here. Way down here. In the back. Right there. Super Mario. So moving on. Mike Gardner asked, "Do you play NHL 94? And if so, who is your squad? What's your favorite Phantasy Star game and why?" He also says, "Congrats on 300. Podcast sounds cool. Keep it retro. You should bring fellow YouTubers on the show." Okay. Do I play NHL 94? I don't. I have it, but I do not play it. I'm just not a huge hockey fan. And if I were to play a hockey game, it'd probably be Mutant League Hockey for the Genesis. Which would it be, and what system would it be on? Movie made into a game. That's a really hard question. Well, my favorite movie is probably Army of Darkness. And there's Evil Dead games, but there actually isn't an Army of Darkness game, like, straight out, like, for newer consoles or anything. So I'd say that an Army of Darkness game would be kind of awesome. Next question by Goffman. "Excellent stuff, Cobra. I'm not sure if I said his name right, by the way. Excellent stuff, Cobra. Big congrats on subs, my friend. My question would have to be, what is your favorite Gordon Lightfoot song?" My favorite Gordon Lightfoot song is probably Sundown, although the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald is really good. And he also says, "Can you show me your boxed and complete RPGs for the Super NES again?" Well, the rarer ones anyway. Yeah, I'll go ahead and film a short little video for you and then put it right here. So moving on. Mike Gardner asks, "Do you play NHL 94? And if so, who is your squad? What's your favorite Phantasy Star game and why?" He also says, "Congrats on 300. Podcast sounds cool. Keep it retro. You should bring fellow YouTubers on the show." Okay. Do I play NHL 94? I don't. I have. All right, real quick here for Jeff. Here are my Super NES games, all in this row. We'll start back there. Seventh Saga, ActRaiser, RPG, AVP, Brainlord, Breath of Fire 2, the awesome Chrono Trigger, Demon's Crest here. Advanced Dungeons, Eye of the Beholder. I'm not sure if that's an RPG or not. We've got Final Fantasy 2, 3, and Mystic Quest. Illusion of Gaia. Let's see. Zelda, Link to the Past. Awesome. Both Lufias. Really happy that I have those. Paladin's Quest. Robo Trek. Secret of Evermore. Shadowrun and Soul Blazer. Awesome to have these. Is that the last one? Young